What's up everyone, welcome to the video. We are here talking prize picks for week 3 of the NFL season, just looking at 3 of the props that I'm looking at the most as of right now on Friday evening. And I typically just try to find the best value out there. Sometimes the prize picks book compared to a DK sports book is way off. I'll try to find some good value there. And just some guys I think are incredible spots. And I feel like the numbers might just be a little bit too low to where I think they should be. And if this is your first time here, hello, my name is Pennell. I break down typically NASCAR and NFL DFS, but I do like to venture into the prize pick streets. I find it very enjoyable, and since I live in Florida, I can't legally bet, so this is kind of my work around it, and it's just a very fun site to play on. So if you do end up enjoying today's free content, the only thing I ask returns is a very small favor, but if you can leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're brand new, and hit that bell so you get notified whenever I post new content. And feel free to leave a comment down below saying whatever you want to say, because I have no control over you. Just try not to make it too mean so my feelings don't get hurt too bad. And don't forget to check out the sponsor of the show, PrizePicks, because they do make these videos possible. And as of right now, if you're a new signee over on the website, you can get an instant deposit match bonus up to $100. There's no strings attached. It is free money. Use it to your advantage. You can use promo code CPEN, either PrizePicks.com or use the link down below. But I think that'll be it for the plug. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. And the first prop that we are looking at, I actually think this guy is a really good turn play over on DraftKings. I forgot to mention him in the picks video that I posted on Friday, so you can check that out if you want. But it's the Michael Pittman receiving prop of only 61.5 receiving yards over on PrizePicks. I like the over here because on the DK Sportsbook, he's currently sitting at 68.5, so I think we're getting some pretty decent value here. And I don't see a reason why this number is too low. I know he's done with the quad issue. He missed last week, but he's going to be back this week, and he's back at home in the Dome, and I feel like Matt Ryan's a lot more comfortable in a controlled climate, as we've seen in his years from Atlanta. But Michael Pittman, he's going to be the focal point of this offense outside of Jonathan Taylor, but I am assuming that the Colts do trail in this game. They got killed by the Jacksonville Jaguars of all teams last week, and now they face the Kansas City Chiefs, a very high-powered offense. I feel like they're going to be struggling to keep up, so I do think they're going to throw the ball more than they want to, and Michael Pittman is going to be the go-to guy for Matt Ryan. We always know the wide receiver one for a Matt Ryan-led offense is always going to have value, especially for fantasy purposes, and we saw this in week 1 where Michael Pittman had 121 yards, 13 targets, a 26.5% target share, and a 35% market share of the team's air yards. And this game looks like it could be a bit of a shootout here. We currently have a 50.5 point over-under, and the Colts do find themselves as 5.5 point dogs at home. So I'm loving this spot for Michael Pittman. I think if you're playing DFS this week, I feel like he's not going to have too much ownership because he's priced right around guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle, A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill. So if you're playing DFS, do like him in tournaments as a run back stack option with the Kansas City Chiefs of, say, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. But if you're playing over on PrizePicks, which I'm assuming you are getting 7 yards under of what DraftKings has, which I think the value is there. I don't think Michael Pittman's, the best play in the slate or anything where he's going to pop off 150 yards and a touchdown, but the upside is certainly there. The Chiefs have not been that great versus the wide receiver position so far this season. Looking at what they've given up through 2 weeks, it is a very small sample size, but they are 22nd DVOA versus the pass and 23rd versus wide receivers, allowing 163 receiving yards per game. And outside of Pittman, the receiving options are very slim on this team. You saw Ashton Dulin get some work last week because the offense was out. But we also have Paris Campbell, Alec Pierce is a thing. So really, it's just Pittman. And if he's going to get us 10 plus targets, I think it's very likely he gets you over that 60-yard threshold. And the second prop I am looking to target this weekend, we're not getting a ton of line value here, but I feel like the number might be a bit too low. It's the Joe Mixon rushing prop, currently sitting at 74.5 over on PrizePicks. It's 75.5 over on the DK Sportsbook, so very marginal difference there. But I love the spot here versus the New York Jets. The Bengals have really struggled out of the gate this year, but I do think this is a nice bounce back spot here versus this Jets defense, which really struggled versus the run last year. And Joe Mixon is getting all the volume he can handle this season and getting a lot more work than I expected in the passing game, which is nice. But really, the Bengals have been struggling and they have been trailing in these games, so they have had to play catch up the past couple of weeks, which is kind of why I think that's getting spiked up a little bit. I don't think Joe Mixon is going to be continued to get all this work in the passing game now. If he wants to, I have no problem with that, especially from a DFS perspective. But in this game, I do think they're going to be able to pound the rock with Joe Mixon. And the volume has been awesome this year, 23 carries per game. That's only equating to 69.5 rushing yards per game, which is only 3 yards per carry. So it's been a bit tough. He's faced the Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys so far, but this Jets run defense is not good. They sucked last year. They're actually the worst team in the league versus running backs fantasy point-wise, and even on the ground, just specifically rushing yards per game, they allowed 113 yards per game. And And so far this season, they currently rank 21st DVOA versus the run, 22nd in points allowed per game to the running back position, and 93.5 rushing yards per game as well. So if we can get 20 plus rushing attempts from Joe Mixon here, I do think there's a really good chance he gets you over that 75-yard threshold. And surprisingly enough, I know the Bengals offensive line has not been great this year, but they do have the second best run blocking advantage per PFF this week. So it's really all about the volume for Joe Mixon. I do think the Bengals are going to be winning this game. I wish they were playing at home, but they do find themselves as 6-point favorites on the road. In New York, we saw Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt have good days versus this Jets defense, and while Joe Mixon is not those two guys and the offensive line's not nearly as good, we're only talking 74.5 yards here. We don't need too much. It's not like we need 100 plus. So if we get you those 20 plus carries, I think there's a very good chance he can get over that. And moving on to the final pick here, we are looking at a really fun play here, but it's Stephon Diggs on the over receiving prop. It's currently sitting at 80.5 yards on PrizePicks, currently 83.5 over on the DK Sportsbook. But he gets an awesome spot here versus the Miami Dolphins, which I know it's a very small sample size. But per PFF through 2 weeks, the Miami Dolphins have the second worst pass coverage team, and they're also last in pressure rate. So that means Josh Allen is going to have plenty of time to rip it down the field to a guy like Stephon Diggs, who absolutely crushed it last week versus Tennessee. Now, Tennessee, we did not have Gabriel Davis, so obviously pretty much all the targets went Stephon Diggs' way, and Gabe Davis is expected to be back this week, so maybe that hurts the targets slightly, but Stephon Diggs is still the alpha dog here. And looking at his numbers through 2 weeks, we're talking 135 receiving yards per game on 10 catches and 11 targets, 2 touchdowns per game, and a 33.5% target share, 82% weighted opportunity share, and an absolutely massive 45% market share of the team's air yards. And like I mentioned, Josh Allen should have plenty of time to throw the ball, and the pass coverage unit for the Dolphins has not been pretty so far this year, so good luck defending the duo of Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. And I'm fully expecting a lot of points to be scored in this game. We currently have a 52.5 point over-under, which is tied for the highest of the weekend, and the Bills also have a 29-point implied team total and a 5.5 point spread. They're on the road in Miami. I expect this to go back and forth for the most part. Weather should be fine this weekend before the hurricane comes in, so I'm loving the offenses on both sides of the ball here. If you were playing DFS, this is a great game to stack up, but specifically Stephon Diggs getting over 80 yards, I don't think is going to be the most difficult thing in the world this week. But with that being said, that's all I got for you guys this weekend. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you're brand new, it does help us both out. And don't forget to check out PrizePicks if you're a new user over there, because you can get an instant deposit match bonus up to $100. And if you do play DFS, I cover that as well. I have spreadsheets, projections, optimizers, ownership projections, and all that fun stuff. I can link the video that I just posted on Friday if you want to check those out. And the link's in the description if you want to check out all the extra premium content that I do offer. But I wish you all the best of luck this week, and I'll see you all next time.